I just want freedom. We all do, Agnes. We all do. Don't be afraid of your freedom, because you'll be free to do what you want at any old time. The 1600s, the 1700s, or now, you'll be free to do what you want any old time. Written by, directed by, and stars Alice Lowe. It's Timestalker, which Alice was in Prevenge. I'm so sorry to the Soup Dragons, provided that any of them are still alive, for doing that. Who remembers that song? That's a deep cut even for me. But yes, Alice Lowe has been in various projects and plays Agnes, who, well, she's just trying to find Mr. Right, because she keeps finding Mr. Wrong, she keeps finding the wrong guy, and then she ends up dying, and then she's reincarnated in a different time period, and must find the one man that she is meant to be with. So it's a globe-trotting, time-trotting adventure that goes across multiple countries and involves basically the same people playing different roles, such as Jacob Anderson, that's me, who plays Scipio. You also have Nick Frost. This is the second movie I've seen Nick Frost in where I'm questioning the choices he's making in his career, but nevertheless, he plays George. And you also have Agnes's friend and confidant, Meg, played by the very humorous and very attractive Tanya Reynolds, who basically just is always by her side, like Sade. And there are a few other people in this, such as Alex Anurin, Bernard. I'm so sorry if I got that wrong. And there are a few people that you will recognize from various British dramas and comedies. And this is basically like a British sketch comedy, if it was not all that funny. Look, I'm not mixing words here. I didn't know what to expect going into this. I saw the poster. Again, I saw that it was playing in theaters at some point. And I just don't know if this movie necessarily needed to be released into theaters. I mean, I'm all for films getting a chance to, be shown on the biggest stage, but this feels very much like a first draft. I don't mind somebody writing, directing, and starring in a movie if there's a point. And Alice certainly has talent. It just wasn't showcased here. And outside of like one period in the 1980s, well, specifically 1980, that's about the only part that this movie got right. Everything else just felt very tacked on. And I think like maybe 3 jokes landed. Barely. I got a mild chuckle out of a couple things. I didn't like this. The theme of basically, trying to find the right person and everything, but also learning to love yourself. And maybe accepting who you truly are and not pushing away the person that truly loves you. Yeah, sure, whatever. But this film thinks it has a deeper meaning and it really, really doesn't. It's on Amazon if you want to check it out. Yes, I plunked down a few bucks. That's actually why I decided not to go to a theater to the south and east of me, because a ticket for that would have cost about $15 plus the driving and the gas. And I decided, well, it snowed, let me just watch it here. Thankfully I did, because I didn't find this very amusing. I didn't find this very interesting. I thought maybe we were going to go with a little bit of horror element here. Yeah, there's a sci-fi element to it. And it has the feeling of people trying to give their best effort, but it also feels very muted. And like it tries to say something without accomplishing any of that. So maybe 10% of it works, 90% of it really doesn't. So that's really all I have to say right there. Nevertheless, Agnes has talent, just needs to be displayed elsewhere. 3, 2, 1, spoilers. So, we start in 1688, and Alexander Macbeth, she finds him, he's about to be hung. She ends up impaling herself on this, one of those axes, those executioner axes, like the spike part. That was sort of funny, to me at least. There's also a theme of a canary, a red canary, or a red, I almost want to say a cardinal, but canary in the coal mine, as it were. And also the fact that Alex is like, he says, you're my only fanatic, and that basically ends up meaning that she needs to find Alex in some form or another in various lives and incarnations. 1793, she has, crazy hair. The pink-dyed Persian, you probably didn't need to do that. I mean, I'm sure it didn't hurt the Persian, but that was a really bad dye job. I mean, and those cats, deeply confused, constantly confused. I had a Persian, great cat, dumb as hell, but I love Persians. But anyway, she says, I feel dead inside. Meg is her servant here. And it's obvious that Meg has an affection for her. I don't know who couldn't have an affection for Tanya Reynolds. Nevertheless, so Agnes is married to a man named George. Is basically the scuzziest guy, but provides her everything she needs except the love. She ends up seeing Alex in the woods. Alex is a bit of a thief. Alex of 9 ribbons. And yeah, that's really about it right there. They end up seeing each other at a dance. George has also given her some form of, I believe, syphilis or something from his disease-ridden time. And I don't know why he needed to treat her like a dog, but then it goes to the theme, every dog has its day. Going with the theme of control. See, there are things in this movie that could work. There's just nothing that's allowed to breathe. And this also is something that really could have benefited from just being a sketch show because, I'm sorry, at 86 minutes, this movie's almost punishing with how it simultaneously feels rushed and dragged out. So, I did kind of find it funny that there were little Easter eggs put in there. Code words, like a code word like mushrooms, like a safe word, as it were. 18th century BD jokes. I don't know why that was thought to have been a good idea. She did rip off George's nose, and he had basically chopping off her head, like Marie Antoinette, basically. 1847, she's chasing after Alex and instantly gets her head cut off by a horse-drawn carriage. That's it. That's it. That's like 30 seconds. I don't know why we needed to do that one. Because there was like a side gag at one point, but it didn't really work. So the 1980 part is the best part. She's obsessed with the singer Alex, who kind of looks like the prototype for the singer from Good Charlotte, or from the band that was in Jennifer's Body that I'm totally drawing a blank on. And Meg basically kind of pretty much comes on to her, and she says, I'd rather be a slave than a lesbian. That is Agnes's words, not mine. Probably shouldn't say it like that. And then she's all obsessed. Scipio is a character that is like helping, Alex's career, but he's always seen as a background player. And then there's a singer that's shot, but it's John Lennon. Ah ha 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 ha. George also is a bit of a sad drunk because ever since rejecting him in 1793, he has felt lost as well, and has felt like he needs to, in some form or another, get her back. So, the bird also keeps factoring in. The bird is all, caught in her purse at one point. You crazy lady, I'm actually quite boringly normal. This movie's boring, I'll say that much. And she had seen this, psychic guy, this card reader, this tarot guy. Still better than the movie Tarot, I'll say that much. Well, you keep dying for him, so maybe it's time to turn the tables. She meets Alex in his dressing room, basically confesses all this, has this old pistol, because she's dressed up like a Renaissance pirate thing, something, like Captain Jack Sparrow. And it turns out that instead of basically him being somebody she needs to obtain to save herself, she's stalking him, confusing him. Maybe she needs to realize she doesn't actually need him. She's never actually needed him. It's not, she's been running away from her true self. Meg is what I'm saying. Maybe, I don't know. And she won't kill him. And then we go back to, we go, basically back to her having some therapy. And she's all fine. It's good. It's fine. She's still obsessed with Alex, but she also met somebody in therapy. It was George, and George is like, she's mine now. Meg is trying to tell her that she loves her, but that just isn't clicking. And then we go back to 1940, because there was a reference to Cleopatra earlier, where Meg, in 1793, said, hey, or no, wait, maybe it was 1980. They both thought they were Cleopatra at one point. Maybe it's a timeshare agreement. Ah ha 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 ha. And yeah, we basically just get we basically get the knife trick throwing at the spinning wheel, the magician's assistant thing. Then we go back to 1980. There's this thing about the red bird, the canary, that can't be, it can't survive in the wild, but the canary survived. So maybe she can break the cycle, I guess. And then George basically ends up trapping her in this room that suddenly has no door, but just a bunch of veiled curtains, because it's a wedding thing. She's about to marry him, and he ends up doing the knife thing and ends up stabbing her. But then she says, I just want my freedom, and I want you to have your freedom. Okay, I'll do that. I don't know why it was that easy. But now we go to Purgatory, where basically she's talking to Scipio and he's tired of being a background player, but she's like, well, change it, do this. I'm going to go back. Because I guess it was her last life, but then it really wasn't. She's her own god, I guess. And she ends up basically, seeing Meg. Meg basically saves her. She goes to see Alex, that is, Agnes. And she ends up shooting both her and Alex in the head on stage because his show isn't going that well. Trying to save him from the fact that she's always been trying to give him everything that he wants, have his name remembered, but she wants to be saved by him. And yeah, then we go to 2117, where we get a dystopian Mad Max type setting. We get a dance number. And she sees Alex and tries to run off, and then that's it. That's it. I don't know what this film was trying to accomplish, and the deeper message certainly didn't resonate with me, and I don't know if it resonates with a lot of people. What do you guys think? I gave it an F. I'm sorry. I gave it only 1 star on Letterboxd. Check out my Letterboxd, by the way. That'll be in the description. But this didn't work for me. Sorry. It just didn't click. Deeper meaning didn't resonate. Nothing really worked outside like maybe 1 or 2 things. I didn't mind the 1980 part. Now, Tanya Reynolds, I may have to check out more of her stuff, but didn't work. Agree, disagree, what I said? Like, share, subscribe. Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ripplin, and I'll see you soon.